You sneeze about 30 times a week. Maybe more if your body has decided pollen is a personal enemy. And every single time, you close your eyes. You can't help it. You've never asked why. Nobody has. Until today, because I, allegedly an astronaut, have run out of more important things to do. At first, I thought this was a 30-second answer. It's a reflex. End of video. Go home. But then I found out nobody actually knows why it happens. And the more I read, the worse it got. Let's start with the thing you've definitely heard. The playground rumor. The one that says if you sneeze with your eyes open, they will pop out of your head, launch clean across the room. This terrified an entire generation of children. It is also completely false. But that's the boring myth. The real reason is something your body installed before you were born. We'll get there. Your eyeballs are held in place by 6 muscles. They are not connected to your nose. The air leaving your sneeze and the eyeballs in your skull are, anatomically speaking, in 2 different neighborhoods. A sneeze can leave your nose fast. Some say up to 100 miles an hour, but that pressure goes out the front, not up into your eye sockets. Your eyes were never in danger. The myth lied to you. So did your cousin. Cool. Mystery solved. Except, that explains why your eyes don't pop out. It doesn't explain why you close them. Those are different questions. And the second one is the one nobody can answer. Here's what we do know. Closing your eyes when you sneeze is a reflex. An involuntary one. Doctors compare it to the knee jerk you get when someone taps below your kneecap with a tiny hammer. You don't decide to do it. Your nervous system decides for you, and then informs you afterward, as a courtesy. When something irritates your nose, a signal runs along the trigeminal nerve, your 5th cranial nerve, the big one that runs your face. That signal triggers the sneeze. And somewhere in that cascade, a second instruction goes out to the muscles around your eyes. Shut them. Now, the two are wired together. You cannot have one without the other, without serious, deliberate effort, and a slightly disturbing amount of practice. The leading theory is protection. You're about to fire germs, mucus, and whatever was in your nose out into the room at speed. Closing your eyes is your body putting up a tiny shield, so none of that comes back for your eyeballs. It's reasonable. It's tidy. It is also, and I want to be clear, still just a theory. There's no definitive proof. The honest answer to why do we close our eyes when we sneeze is, we have a strong guess and a lot of shrugging. And here's where it gets stupid. If this were a learned habit, something you picked up from watching other people, then babies wouldn't do it. They'd have to learn it first. But babies do it. Newborns close their eyes when they sneeze before they have ever watched anyone else sneeze, before they know what a face is. Which means this isn't a habit. It's pre-installed. Somewhere in your DNA there's an instruction manual you never read. Step 1, detect intruder in nose. Step 2, close eyes. Step 3, launch face contents at the room. You agreed to none of this. It came standard. That's not biology. That's just rude. Which raises a different, dumber question. If your body closes your eyes on its own, what else is it triggering that it shouldn't? And the answer is at least one thing. About 1 in 3 people, depending on which study you trust, sneeze when they look at a bright light. Walk out of a dark cinema into the sun, and they sneeze. For no reason involving their nose at all. It's real. It has a name. It's called the photic sneeze reflex, and the acronym scientists gave it is ACHOO. I'm not joking. That's the official one. Henry Everett described it in the journal Neurology back in 1964, and Aristotle was apparently wondering about it 2,000 years before that. And here's the best part. We still don't know why it happens. The current guess is that the wiring for bright light and sneeze crosses somewhere in that same facial nerve, and some people just got the cross version. You might be one of them. You might be sneezing at the sun on a genetic schedule. And until 30 seconds ago, you thought that was normal. Don't think about that too hard. Anyway, so we don't really know why we close our eyes when we sneeze. We know it's not to keep them in your head. We know it's a reflex, probably for protection. Definitely not your call. And we know you've been doing it. Eyes shut, face exploding, since before you could see. Running a program you never opened, written by something that never asked. You are mostly on autopilot. A very polite passenger in a body that handles itself and occasionally sneezes at the sky. Maybe that's fine. Maybe that's most of being alive. If you sneeze when you look at the sun, drop an ACHOO in the comments so I know I'm not the only one. And if there's some other thing your body does that nobody's ever given you a straight answer about, tell me. I clearly have nothing better to do. Now you know. Sorry. See you Thursday.